Warm greetings from the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans on this chilly Saturday in the high 10. Thanks for joining me. Wanted to bring you guys some information I found in the queue on YouTube. It was a video by KGET 17 News pertaining to sexual assaults that took place in Bakersfield many moons ago. And I thought I'd bring you all that said information. As of late, there's been an uptick of crime in Kern County in Bakersfield, California. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. And I thought I'd discuss the situation that's been going on. We have 2 small children missing from this area. And I decided to bring you all this information because I thought you might want to hear something that happened a long time ago. And I'm going to bring you those said sources so you can verify for yourself. Hello, Marcella, Kate, Nay, Chris, Anonymous, Dorothy, Angie. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Thank you so much. So it's just been interesting information. I've got 30 viewing. Thank you. Not too long ago, this source is ABC 23 News. There was a sexual assault that took place in Bakersfield, California, and it reads as follows. And 23 ABC is the source. BPD searching for a man accused of sexually assaulting a victim in a car. A man suspected of sexual assault fled on foot from the scene Friday, according to the Bakersfield Police Department. And mind you, this was uploaded March 9th this year. BPD said the assault took place Friday in the 100 block of Allen Road across the street from Bakersfield Christian High School. A man allegedly forced his way into an occupied vehicle and sexually assaulted the victim, BPD said. The man is described as white, standing up to 6 feet tall with a thin build. According to BPD, he was wearing a black hooded sweatshirt with the letter A, a black knit hat, cap, and a black neck gaiter. And if you have any information pertaining to this assault, please dial 661-327-7111. Yes, 661-327-7111. A lot is going on out there in that area, and many of you probably have heard of the notorious African-American serial killer Sam Little. Well, he has had ties to Bakersfield, California as well. And this is brief information by KGET 17. Serial killer Samuel Little has ties to Bakersfield. This was uploaded 2 years ago. The man who may be the nation's most prolific serial killer was once arrested in Bakersfield, prompting cold case investigators to look into the possibility he could be responsible for some occurrence, hundreds of unsolved murders. The Bakersfield Police Department's cold case has been up and running for about a year. Within that time, detectives have looked at approximately 100 cases. Along the way, they've examined the possibility some cases are linked and some victims may have crossed paths with infamous serial killers. Samuel Little managed to live most of his life undetected by law enforcement as a violent predator. It wasn't until his DNA was entered into the National Crime Offender Database in 2012 that his name became known to California officials. His DNA matched to that of 3 murders of women in Los Angeles County between 1987 and 1989. LAPD detectives believe Little was responsible for many more murders, but he remained steadfast in his innocence until last year. He admitted to the 3 murders and told investigators he was responsible for 90 other homicides. Little told detectives the killings took place between 1970 and 2005, scattered across the country. His most usual method of murder is strangulation, according to the FBI. As of February, law enforcement conclusively linked Little to 42 murders. Okay. So it asks, out of 90 new confessions, Little told detectives that he murdered 15 women in Los Angeles. With LA just 100 miles away, we wanted to know, was Samuel Little ever in Bakersfield? It turns out he was. Bakersfield police confirmed Little was arrested in Bakersfield in 1973 for solicitation of a prostitute. The charge is particularly significant as the FBI says most of Little's victims are believed to have been prostitutes. Cold case detective Christina Abshire said she's examined dozens of murders of women, and so far there hasn't been a DNA match linking Little to a local case, but that doesn't completely rule out the possibility that he's killed in Bakersfield. And that's just a little bit of information, and it goes on to talk about other serial killers that have committed crimes in the state of California. I'm trying to make sure I bring everything in here. Okay, hold on one second. Now, it says most Bakersfield killers with a long list of victims aren't considered serial killers. They're referred to as mass or spree killers since the killings weren't spread out over a period of time. 2 examples, the Vincent brothers, who killed 5 of his family members in 2003, Javier Caceres, who killed 5 people within hours before turning the gun on himself last summer. Former Kern County Sheriff's Deputy David Rogers is often referred to as a serial killer. Detectives found their co-worker had a habit for picking up prostitutes when he was off duty. They also discovered he killed 2 sex workers, including one who was 15 and pregnant. Rogers was convicted of the 2 murders in 1987. 17 News spent about a year looking into the string of murders from 1996 to 2001 that have striking similarities. Our investigation examined the possibility that serial rapist Michael Charles Brown is also a serial killer and murdered Mary Ann Perkins, Leslie Dawn Preston, Ruby Merriweather, Katrina Pink, Billy Bear, Patricia Martin, and Wendy Cow. Those 7 women were considered vulnerable victims. Some of them were prostitutes, some were drug users. But we also explored the theory that Brown had another victim who drastically varied in lifestyle from the others, an anomaly of sorts. Elementary school principal Kathleen Heisey, another KGET special report. Brown was convicted of raping several women as well as the murder of Ruby Merriweather. But the murders of the 7 other women remain unsolved. If you have any information on these Bakersfield cases, you're urged to call BPD at 661-327-7111. And I brought you that information because Mr. Brown is the topic of this discussion. He enjoyed harming women, Bakersfield, California. And I'm going to bring you that said information. Thank you all for joining me. Hi, everybody. Thank you. Joelle, Tina, Terry, Aquarius 63. Hi, everybody. Nene, thank you. Happy Saturday to you all, too. Hello, Janet. How are you doing? Oh, it's always something. But I found this in the YouTube queue, and there's a video. And, of course, most of you know, as I said, there's an uptick of crime lately in Bakersfield, California. Children have gone missing from Cal City, but now the investigation is taking place there, been moved there. And I thought I'd bring you this information just to show you there's a lot going on. Right now, the California Department of Justice is investigating Bakersfield Police Department for excessive force and unlawful stops. That said information is by kget.com if you want to verify that. It's just a lot going on. But I'm going to bring you this short information by kget.com if you want to verify. The video is in the queue in YouTube. Bakersfield's secret serial killer. Warning, the story presented on these pages depict graphic acts of violence, murder, and sexual assault. Some may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Between 1996 and 2001, 7 Bakersfield women were stabbed and slashed in horrific murders. The victims were poor. Some were prostitutes. The crimes were forgotten. But one dedicated detective lived by the old cop philosophy: everybody counts. He never gave up. When divine intervention connected the murders to the savage killing of a beloved community icon, everything changed. This is the story of the victims. This is the story their families wanted told. This is a special report, a year-long investigation by KGET's Olivia Lavoie asks, does Bakersfield have a secret serial killer? And you also see the pictures of the victims in this said article. This is the lives and histories of the victims and the suspect. One second. Michael Charles Brown, born March 19, 1976, currently serving a life sentence at San Quentin State Prison. Michael Charles Brown was born into a big family in the small central Mississippi town of Grenada. Little about Brown's childhood is known. While we know Brown has a juvenile record, those records are sealed. With family in Mississippi and Bakersfield, Brown visited Kern County frequently in his youth. He even spent his junior year at Highland High School. Partially what makes Brown so interesting is the amount of family, friends, and acquaintances he had, though no one was willing to speak with us for our investigation. The only two people interviewed in our story who knew Brown only agreed to speak with us because they also knew victims mentioned in the piece. The few people willing to speak with me anonymously and off camera told me Brown was really the last person you'd ever suspect would hurt another human being. To be clear, Brown wasn't a prominent member of the community. He never went to college, he never owned his own home, and he'd been in and out of jail for most of his life. But the idea of him being capable of rape and murder was and still is unbelievable to many who knew him. Everyone who spoke with, who knew Brown, said he was shy, quiet, and charming. Many spoke of his manners. Several people brought up how Brown had a diverse group of friends. He could make himself fit in with several different crowds. Despite his charm, friends said he wasn't exactly a ladies' man. They recall him spending most of his time out at bars playing pool, often keeping to himself. Brown's criminal records show he seemed to struggle with drinking, or at least drinking and driving. In addition to killing a pedestrian while driving drunk, Brown got several DUIs over the years. However, friends told us off camera he never experimented with drugs. One reason for friends not seeing Brown pick up on women could be that it seems he always had a serious girlfriend he lived with. He had children with multiple women, but he never married. And at the time of his arrest for the 4 sexual assaults and the murder of Ruby Merriweather, he was in a serious relationship with a live-in girlfriend. Brown has also experienced tragedy in his own family. While Brown was incarcerated for vehicular manslaughter in 2003, his brother was murdered. The case remains unsolved. Throughout the years, Brown has kept quiet. He didn't testify in his own self-defense. When the jury convicted him of sexual assaults and Ruby Merriweather's murder, he had the opportunity to have dozens of people testify on his behalf and beg the jury to have mercy on him and give him life without parole instead of the death penalty. But Brown declined. He didn't try to fight it. He also never agreed to an on-camera interview or any kind of interview with a reporter. As of the air date of our investigation, no detective has ever met with Brown in prison. Bakersfield police would not confirm to KGET that Brown is a suspect in any unsolved homicides. Only retired law enforcement were willing to speak about the potential Brown being a serial killer. These are the murder victims. Mary Ann Perkins, 44 years old, found December 30th, 1996 at 1128 Durrell Avenue. Mary Ann Perkins was born and raised in Bakersfield. Mary was 44 years old, single mother of 3 when she vanished from her neighborhood. Family members recall her walking towards her South Owen Street home, wearing a green family reunion shirt. When they saw her for the last time, Mary's family recalls how she was always humble, grateful, and very family-oriented. She'd overcome a lot in her life as she was a sickly child who suffered from seizures caused by epilepsy. Family remembers Mary for being amazing with children and very humble. Mary had 11 siblings, but despite the size, the family was very close-knit. According to the original news reports, family last saw Mary alive on December 21st, 1996. When she didn't show up for Christmas, her family says they knew she was dead. Mary's body was discovered the day before New Year's Eve in the backyard of a vacant home just a few blocks from where she lived. And once again, if you have information pertaining to this, 661-327-7111. Next victim, Leslie Dawn Preston, 39 years old, found June 30th, 1998 in the 2200 block of Madison Street. Leslie was born and raised in Bakersfield to a family with 11 children. Despite having so many siblings, Leslie had just one child herself, a daughter named Shannon. Shannon said the pair were very close, saw each other regularly, and spoke several times a day. She said she knew instantly something was wrong when she couldn't get a hold of her mother one late June afternoon in 1998. Several days later, Leslie's new body was found in a field off Madison Street. That same week, newspaper reports from 1998 revealed her vehicle was found abandoned nearby. Tragically, one of Leslie's brothers was also murdered a few years before her. The homicide took place in Germany and is still unsolved. Family remembers Leslie as being very outgoing and more than anything, very kind. She was overjoyed to become a grandmother and was very close with her young grandson. Family recalls how much Leslie loved to read. It was how she spent most of her free time. Leslie also worked as a caregiver. Next victim, Kathleen Heisey. Now, mind you, the first two women I mentioned were African American. Leslie Dawn Preston, 39, a Black female. First one, Mary Ann Perkins, 44 at the time. She was a Black female. And the next victim I'm going to mention is a white female. And I think this is the one that they feel was out of character for the victims that he chose. Kathleen was 50 years old at the time, found July 1st, 1998 at 2016 Raymond A. Sprunch Court. Our investigation into Michael Charles Brown and the unsolved homicides is linked. He was largely sparked by our in-depth look into the murder of Kathleen Heisey. In 2016, we interviewed dozens of people who knew Kathleen and had any involvement in her homicide investigation. It was immediately clear that her murder made headlines for two reasons. One, she was, by all accounts, an unlikely target of violence. She was a hardworking, respected woman who was brutally murdered in her own home. And two, she was so incredibly loved by an immense amount of people in the community. It became nearly impossible to track the amount of people who wanted to tell us about Kathleen and how they remembered her. As a longtime educator in Kern County, former students, faculty, and parents all wanted to share a reason why Kathleen was so special. Kathleen was born into a prominent Kern County family with lots of history in the community, but friends say her background never had an effect on her vivacious and down-to-earth personality. She was known to be fiercely protective of her students. She was kind but tough. Her creativity is just one of her traits that make her so memorable. Kathleen was a single mother who taught her children independence and perseverance. Her extended family admits her death was tough, that it changed the entire structure of the Heisey family for good. Kathleen's murder was horrific and very violent. It made a lasting impression on everyone who worked the case, from first responders to the detectives and the coroner. It was the kind of crime that scared the entire community, as it planted that dreaded, though, if it happened to her, it could happen to anybody. Next victim, Black female Ruby Merriweather, 40 years old at the time, found June 19, 2000 at 521 Gray Street. Ruby Lee Jackson Merriweather was a single mother of 4 children at the time of her murder. Some of the first things Ruby's family recalls about her is the love she had for cooking, music, and dancing. Ruby was very close with her children and siblings. Her death had a deep effect on her family, especially Mahalia Jackson, her daughter, who discovered her body. To this day, family says Mahalia is unable to discuss her mother's death and struggles to hear her name brought up. Finding her mother's body was extremely traumatic. Having someone finally brought to justice for the heinous crime did little to get the image of the crime scene out of her mind. Ruby's sister, Zelma Jackson, says she long suspected Ruby was murdered by a serial killer. She believes there are other victims of Michael Charles Brown, and she welcomes those families to reach out to her. Though he's only been convicted of Ruby's murder, Zelma says she feels connected to the families of the other women he may have killed. Next victim, Katrina A. Pink, African-American female, 27 years old, found December 14, 2000 in the 4600 block of McKee Road. Katrina Pink was born in Oklahoma and moved to Bakersfield with her parents as a child. Katrina's grandmother, who is her last living relative in Kern County, says Katrina was an only child. Her grandmother remembers Katrina being intelligent and willing to stand up for others, even if they were strangers. She recalled being at the grocery store with Katrina when Katrina noticed an elderly couple in the line in front of them was overcharged by the cashier. Her grandmother said Katrina confronted the cashier and made him return the money to the couple. At the time of her murder, 27-year-old Katrina Pink had prior arrests for prostitution and drug use. It's a part of her life, her grandmother said, she was not privy to. Katrina had a son under the age of 10 at the time of her death. Katrina was last seen at the Tropicana Motel on Union Avenue on December 12, 2000. Her partially nude body was discovered splayed out in a field near Ridgeview High School on December 14th. Next victim, Billie Jean Bear, 42 years of age, Caucasian, I believe she's Caucasian, found January 13, 2001 in the 2700 block of O Street. Billie Jean Bear was born Billie Jean Johnson, Her two sisters, Beverly and Barbara, all share the middle name Jean. Billy was the youngest of the three girls. Billy's sister, Beverly, says they grew up in the icy town of Fairbanks, Alaska, to a troubled mother and father. Their mother left the family when Billy was 3 years old, leaving them with the father, who Beverly calls an abusive alcoholic. Beverly says Billy was intelligent and dreamed of being a doctor, but her difficult family life made it difficult for her to strive. Billy graduated high school and from there worked as a bartender at a local saloon. Eventually, she married, taking the last name Bear. Family says during her marriage, she began using drugs with her husband. At some point, the two became estranged, and Billy's mother, who abandoned her all those years ago, welcomed Billy to come live with her. Her sister says her mother eventually kicked Billy out and put her on a bus to Bakersfield with $10 in her pocket. Her mother told Billy to leave frustrated. She hadn't found a job yet. Her sister says after her murder, employers called her mother's home ready to offer Billy a job. Billy wasn't in Bakersfield long before her murder. Her sister says she was working as a hostess and living at the Bakersfield homeless shelter. Court records show Billy had also recently been arrested for prostitution. Billy was stabbed upwards of 13 times and left partially nude, thrown in some bushes on O Street. Next victim, Patricia Bessie Martin, 29 years of age, believed to be African American, found April 25th, 2001 in the 1200 block of East 21st Street. Patricia Bessie Martin was born and raised in Kern County to a close-knit family. Her mother and sister say Patricia loved reading and always got A's and B's in school, a trait they say her children take after. Family recalls Patricia's humor and playful nature. She and her sister were known to prank call their mother, a memory her sister still laughs about today. At 29 years old, Patricia was a single mother of four young children. Her family says she was a loving mother and a good person, but at times she hung out with the wrong crowd. Court records show she had been arrested for prostitution a few months before she was killed. Her murder was an incredibly stressful time as her family had to deal with her death while also taking in her children to raise as their own. Patricia's sister says the murder has had a huge ripple effect on the entire family. She says it's deeply affected both of her parents' health and changed birthdays and holidays forever. I've needed her. The kids had graduations and babies, and I've needed her. I think that's when I get the angriest. Next victim, Wendy Kyle, Caucasian woman, 29 years old, found April 25th, 2001 in the 1200 block of East 21st Street. Wendy Jean Kyle was born on her mother's birthday and died on her sister's birthday. Wendy's mother says it's been impossible for her or her living daughter to celebrate since Wendy's murder. Wendy was born in Sierra Madre, California, but spent much of her life in Kennewick, Washington. From a young age, Wendy displayed her passion for art and animals, often combining the two. She was known for being creative, quiet and sweet. In Washington, she volunteered at animal shelters, and when she died, her family told attendees that in lieu of flowers, a donation could be made to a local animal shelter in Wendy's name. Wendy moved to Bakersfield about a year or two before her death to be closer to her paternal grandmother. Wendy's friends in Bakersfield remember Wendy was very shy, kind, someone who appeared to want to fit in. Some friends said the group Wendy often hung out with at the Mint Bar and the VIP lounge was rougher around the edges than Wendy. Some said it appeared Wendy was much more innocent than her friends, but just wanted to fit in. These are the victims that I've mentioned who were found brutally murdered and killed by Mr. Brown. If you have any information that can help the detectives with any of these cold cases, contact the Bakersfield Police Department or Secret Witness Hotline, Bakersfield Police, 661-327-7111. And as I said, he was only accused of killing one lady, but they believe he may have killed these other women as well. And you can also call the Secret Witness Hotline at 661-322-4040. If you need any verification for what I just brought you, kget.com is the source pertaining to Mr. Brown, who is now currently incarcerated, and the victims. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all so much. Yes, see, you learn a little something new about what's going on pertaining to the ins and outs of Bakersfield, California. I'm going to bring you a little bit more brief information, and then I will go into the chat. This is by Bakersfield.com. This was uploaded September 14, 2006. Serial rapist and murderer sentenced to death. A Kern County judge Wednesday sentenced convicted murderer and serial rapist Michael Charles Brown to death for the cold, vicious killing of a Bakersfield mother of 4. Brown, 40, showed no emotion as Judge Kenneth C. Twisselman sentenced him to death for the murder of Ruby Lee Jackson Merriweather in 2000. Brown sexually assaulted her and stabbed her numerous times in the head and neck with enough force that he severed her spine. Her body was found by one of her children in her home in the 500 block of Grace Street. Brown also received several life terms in prison for a series of rapes he committed between 2007 and 2008. The judge called Brown's acts repulsive crimes of violence. Prosecutor Felicia Nagel said afterwards she was absolutely pleased with the sentence. A jury convicted Brown of 17 counts in January. He's a serial rapist and a danger to society, and the death penalty is appropriate, she said. Brown sexually assaulted 4 prostitutes, 2 of whom positively identified him as their attacker, from a selection of 6 photographs. The women told investigators Brown drove them in a car to secluded locations and forced them to perform sex acts. He beat and choked the women, and in some instances sodomized them with a foreign object, court filings say. One woman said Brown told her he would kill her if she didn't do what he wanted. I have killed other women before. Do what I say and you won't get hurt, the woman said Brown told her. Another woman said he told her he killed and raped other women in the cellar of a house near Emerson Junior High School, according to the filings. Police said the street he named was where Brown's father lived. Brown was incarcerated from 2003 until November 2007 for a drunken driving vehicular manslaughter conviction. His car struck 40-year-old Gary White as White tried to cross Union Avenue at 10th Street. The impact lodged White's body in the car's windshield and on its hood. Brown told police he pulled over at a nearby Weiner Schnitzel and White's body rolled off the car. He drove away but was arrested a short time later. Lastly, Brown was a person of interest in the May 28, 2001 killing of Wendy Cow. She was stabbed to death in her Oildale home set ablaze. An acquaintance of Cow's, Brown was seen with her at the downtown bar The Mint the day of her death. He was questioned by homicide detectives, but no charges have been filed in her killing. This is by Bakersfield.com. And this suspect who I'm currently discussing right now is killed a lot of people, allegedly. And he is now currently incarcerated. So if you need verification for this information, Bakersfield.com is the source. And this was uploaded in 2016. And his name is Michael Charles Brown. And he was sentenced to death for the murder of Ruby Lee Jackson Merriweather in 2000, and also sentenced for numerous amount of rapes in Kern County, Bakersfield, California. That is said information. Thank you so much. Hello, Air Force One. How are you all doing? Thank you so much for that. Please check out this video about the secret serial killer. It's not very long. I think it's under 30 minutes. It is playing on YouTube, and that's where I found it in the queue. Thank you all so much. This is just a little information about Bakersfield, California. Lately, I know most of us have been seeing a lot of crime taking place with violence, shootings, murders, people found dead in a home. The Justice Department is now investigating Bakersfield Police Department as I speak. Information was uploaded to the queue 3 days ago, and articles pertaining to a new investigation by the Justice Department for abuse to civilians and unlawful stops. They have a lot of crime in Bakersfield, California. The population is under 1 million, in the middle, I think 500,000, if I'm not mistaken. I may be misquoting, but the point is they're not even at 1 million people. So it's just sad to see all this crime. And then you find out they've had rapists, serial rapist, murderer. Then there's Mr. Little, who is now deemed one of the most notorious serial killers and an African-American male. And he's an elderly man. But naturally, he was a young man when he made it to Bakersfield, California in the early 70s. He traveled all over the world. He's also linked to a death here of a Black woman here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Sam Little killed all over the country. And as you see, they have always said there are at least 100 serial killers working at one time in the United States of America. There's no telling how many are actually working in that area, Southern California, or in the state as a whole. But there is a lot of crime out there in that area, Kern County, Bakersfield, California, and that demographic. And we'll just pray for the people, just like we pray for everyone else, that you'll be safe. So if you're living a certain type of lifestyle as a woman or a man, and you like to partake in prostitution, all I can say is to be careful, because once you're alone, all bets are off once the door is closed. And that's just really common sense. Be it a car door or a door to a home or a door to a hotel, motel, that once that door is shut, there's no guarantee that that person is going to show you favor. And that's just the bottom line. I thank you all for listening. All deserts are weird. Well, maybe not all Sashi, but hey, Enlightened One. I thank you all for joining me. Yes, very, very scary. I just was watching it earlier, and I said, well, I'll bring this information to the fans, let them see another side of Bakersfield, California, besides the one story that we have been watching for the past couple of months. And it's just sad to hear of anyone out here, stalking women and or picking them up for solicitation. And she's thinking she's going to get some money from this said guy. But all in all, his main goal is to sexually abuse her and torture her and then kill her. It's very sad. Thank you so much for tuning in. This will be my start of my first live today. I will go live a little bit later with some Beverly's Saturday night vibe. And I hope you tune in and join me. I'll have a hot topic for you guys to join in and give me your said commentary. And let's pray for the Capitol Police officer who was killed in the line of duty. We have a lot of crime going on in America right now. A lot of unhappy people are walking around, ravaging citizens for unknown reasons. But nonetheless, it's sickening. The crimes that are happening to us as civilians. As you see, it doesn't matter who you are, what your name is, where you come from. You do not know the day that you walk outside your front door that you will not be returning home alive. So prayers for that officer's family. Prayers for the people working at the Capitol, national government, and everybody. Because as the detective said, all life counts. Yes, it makes you think twice about everything. Yes, you have to realize that you don't know people. As you see, when you see these crimes, as it was said about Mr. Brown, he was shy. He didn't seem to be a problem person, perhaps. But that's the thing. Those people did not know him. You're just looking at somebody in a bar shooting pool. You don't know them. I don't care if you see them every night or every other night in a bar or a restaurant. It doesn't mean you know them. And that's what happens when we hear terrible things about people being accused of sexual assault, murder, rape. The first thing you think is, well, I never thought he or she would do that. They didn't seem like that to me. But that's the point. It's a perception. You don't know them. Yes, Air Force One, prayers for the family. Prayers for everyone, and prayers to the George Floyd's family as well. Trial still on. We'll resume on Monday. So prayers to the Floyd family. And I thank you all for joining me. Yes, corruption is everywhere. Yes, yes. So many real hard crimes in Bakersfield every day. Bodies found. Yes, yes. It's very sad. No, you don't know people. Like I said, we're all flawed. We're all human. But when it comes down to you or I committing heinous crimes such as assault, murder, torture of another human being, kidnapping, you've gone out of the realm of a basic misdemeanor crime. Okay. You're on a whole nother level when you decide to stalk people, follow people, engage in touching them without their permission, kidnapping them, and you know the rest. Corruption everywhere. If you're a victim of a crime, it's even scary to call the police and risk that headache. Every day we're taking a chance. Yes, but you need to call the police if you're being sexually assaulted. You've been sexually assaulted. I would not sit around and wait, because this is the reason why we have so many men on the loose, because nobody will call. You cannot pretend it did not happen to you. If you were honestly sexually assaulted by a man or a woman, whomever, or it could be a child, teenager, you need to call the authorities, because if you don't say anything, he or she will then go out and do it again, because a sadist has no self-control. That's why they continue to assault people. So if you don't say anything, then he goes over here 2 days later, assaults another lady. She doesn't say anything. He now feels invincible, and he will continue to hurt people. So you have to take the chance and risk the scrutiny, because some suspects will return to a victim's home and re-offend. That has happened to women who have been raped. They have been re-raped by the same suspect. So please, call the police. Go in, get your kit done, and pray to God that he or she is apprehended. Do not want these type of people walking around amongst our citizens. And I don't care if it's a child molester, it's all the same to me. Speak up. If you see anything foul, odd behavior of a grown-up around a child, speak up. A child on a child, whichever, it's all the same to me. Offenses are offenses. We cannot just continue to let people get a free pass. You see with Mr. Brown, he hit somebody drinking and driving, left the scene, apprehended shortly after, and gets a small sentence for killing a man walking about his business. See, that's another problem in our country. Giving people a pass to kill other people, especially with vehicular homicide. Most of you probably don't know, but Tennessee has had the highest rates of drinking and driving for years. It is a known prevalent thing that people here in this state drive drunk. They have had their license suspended, revoked, and they continue to drive under the influence. They continue to drive without a valid driver's license. We've had a lot of cases of re-offenders being pulled over for drinking and driving when their rights were stripped, and they continue to drive. And some have had, terrible accidents and death with civilians. Yes, they want you to fear telling, but they are cowards. Yes, they are. Call the police. A situation with my job. I worked at a group home and disabled women, and the lady had a medical emergency and was at the hospital, and she was assaulted. Oh, mercy. Yes. Yes. Well, where was she assaulted, Miss Doe? Was she assaulted at the home? Or outside the home? Thank you all so much for joining me. Well, that's just a little bit of information I wanted to bring you guys pertaining to a secret of Bakersfield, California. They had a serial killer, believed to be a serial killer, stalking the vulnerable women of Bakersfield, California. And those are the most vulnerable people are women and men who solicit themselves for sex, prostitute. Everyone knows it's a very dangerous profession. That there, as I state, there is no guarantee that when you walk into a room, hotel, home, get into a car, that you are going to return the way you entered. Very welcome, Air Force. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate you all tuning in. Oh, what do you say? She's blind and ended up telling me while she was in my care. Oh, I called the police and told them, and she told them it was a male nurse at the hospital, and the police are trying to cover it up. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Well, as I told you all, Ruby Ray, a lot of men who commit these type of sadism against women and men have been physically, sexually abused by someone. As I was watching the story of John Wayne Gacy here recently, I'm trying to get the last 2 episodes uploaded because I would like to bring you commentary pertaining to the life of John Wayne Gacy, another prolific serial killer who terrorized the city of Des Plaines, Illinois, and Chicago. He was sexually assaulted, molested by his father's friend as a child. It is believed that the father found out because the sister spins the story of the father being very angry and threatening the guy. So it is believed that, the father did find out, but she did say that their father was an alcoholic, a very abusive alcoholic. So you see, when you go into the lives of many of these men who are rapists and serial killers, you will find out that they came from abuse. Some of them, most of them, came from abusive households, alcoholic parents, domineering parents, relatives who have sexually assaulted them, also neighbors, friends, they were sexually assaulted. So as the sister said about John Wayne Gacy, she does believe him being molested, groomed his attitude and ways to where he had an attraction for young boys. Of course, when you watch that said documentary, Devil in Disguise, you can pick up the first 4 episodes on YouTube and Peacock. You will have to pay for the following episodes after episode 1 on Peacock, but you can find the first 4 on YouTube. The sister spins the web to tell you she believes this is why her brother had become a sadist, because he was molested by a family friend of the father's male friend. And rape is a hard crime to just walk away from and pretend that you're never going to rape again. It has just been proven from profilers, experts, that most offenders will reoffend. They don't have the gumption to stop offending. Oh, Lord, y'all got some stories. John Wayne was scary. Yes, he was a very scary man. Yes, hurt people. Yes. And that is the reason why that fool slept in a casket in a funeral home. What, Nene? Oh, my goodness. I hadn't heard that. But it's just a known fact that serial rapists, they reoffend because they don't have the gumption to stop. They don't have self-control. That is the issue with the rapist. Same thing with the serial killer. Now, as you know, BTK stopped killing for a while. He ended up getting caught because he decided that he wanted to, get 5 minutes of fame, 5 more minutes of fame. He sent a letter to the local newspaper. They traced that said letter from a computer from a church that he attended, and that is how BTK got caught. And he allegedly had stopped murdering people in the city where he was residing. But you have some very sick people out here. And that's why you have to be careful, because anyone can become a victim of a killer, a rapist. You just have to pray that you are careful with the company you keep, the places you go alone, keeping your doors and windows locked, remembering to, shut your windows at night, depending if you live on the first floor or even if you're on a second, third floor and you think it's accessible by someone climbing up, you need to lock your windows before going to sleep. Be careful with, leaving the doors open, running back and forth to your car to get parcels out, back doors in and out, gardening, things like that, because there's always somebody watching. And that is the sad thing about life, is that there's always someone watching you. Yes, God is good. His father was physically abusive, but I will wait till you bring the story. Yes. I will be bringing you John Wayne Gacy soon. I was wanting to bring it today, but I couldn't find the other 2 episodes to finish the series. It is a 6-part series. Devil in Disguise is currently playing on Peacock as I speak. It just got uploaded, I think a few days or a week ago. So it's a new series about the life and the murders pertaining to John Wayne Gacy. And as most of you know, John Wayne Gacy is no longer alive. He was put to death many years ago. But when you watch the documentary, you will see the sickening mind of a man who had no remorse then, and he had no remorse up until death, because he talked matter-of-factly while speaking of the situations pertaining to the missing men and boys. And it was so weird. As I was speaking the words matter-of-factly, the detective said it at the same time I said it. I thought, this is crazy, because that's what baffled me the whole time I was watching the first 4 episodes, is how he talked about the cases as if he was talking about getting up, going to the store and buying bananas. It was no big deal. The rules he used to strangle the guys and the men, the boys, he talked about it like it was nothing. Basically trying to say, I don't know what the big deal was. I just tightened the noose. Basically, it was a tourniquet. Just no regard for life. No regard for life at all. Yes, you need to pay attention to your surroundings. Please pay attention. Queen, is that the one that was an attorney? No. John Wayne Gacy was a contractor in Des Plaines, Illinois, Southside Chicago. These murders took place in the 70s. And John Wayne Gacy is no longer alive. He was put to death. And it was the sweetest day in America when they put that dog down. Yes, it was second nature to him. Yes. People better pay attention, because killers are looking for targets. Yes, they are. And that's the thing I keep saying. You don't know people. You don't know your neighbors. You don't know anybody. We take a chance just talking to someone. Like, I have a new neighbor now. I don't know him. But the thing is, if you talk alone, or he wants to show you something new in his apartment, or you don't know people, you don't know that soon as they shut the door, they could just jump on you, pounce you, beat your head in, strangle you. What do you know about people? You don't know anybody. That's why I said you take a chance every day. Just hold a conversation with somebody. They could just be like, hey, I got something you might like, or I'm not using this. You're welcome to have it. And you foolishly step in good faith. And next thing you know, you're in there on the floor fighting for your life. You don't know people. You're welcome, 7. Anytime. I hope y'all are having a wonderful Saturday. It's very chilly here in the high 10s. It's beautiful, though. It's sunny outside. And I decided to go incognito today. I decided, you know what? I'm always going live. Spruced up. I'm going to give that a break from now. I'm just going to talk from the screen and we'll roll with it. But we still will have the live panels with the lives. I didn't drop the link because I didn't think I'd be on very long. But I will be streaming this way in the near future. Watch out, because that person who seemed too sweet might be sizing you up for murder. Ooh, Deborah. You should do Alton Coleman and Deborah Brown, black serial killers. I was terrified of them. Okay. Hi, Queen. We had a serial killer called the Pig Farmer. He took women, chopped them, feed them to, oh my goodness, Fran. Hello, Fran. What's Beverly's topic tonight? Well, Beverly has a good topic for you tonight. I don't want to tell you what the topic is. I want to surprise you guys. It's a surprise. But I want you to tune in, bring your popcorn and your wine. Oh, Lord. And you might need a helmet because it might get a little bumpy, because I know how you all get when you get on that live. Y'all get to testifying and telling all y'all business and your personal experiences. But it will be a topic pertaining to men. I'll give you that much. Yes, it will be a very enlightening conversation. It will be a conversation to make you stop and think about your relationship. It's some information I had come across here recently and conversations I've had with someone I know of. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to bring it to life tonight in a live and get you guys responses and your thought process on the given situation. But you will enjoy the show, and I will let you come up on the panel to give any type of information pertaining to the topic and or your thoughts on the topic. And I thank you. Air Force, what's that face about? Oh, you'll need your headphones because my man will be woke. Well, can't you go to another room? Ruby says, good. Wearing my PJs, drinking. Yes, I perhaps maybe in mine. People always say I'm standoffish, but I don't do all those personal questions. And no, I can come over stuff. Nah, because what can personal info help you with? Always keep your head on the swivel. Okay, I'm confused. Okay, ironing and sewing. How you doing, Aquarius? I'm talking about situations involving men, Mr. Air Force. Let me talk to you for just a second anyway, sir. I'm getting ready to ring you up. Oh, I see you sent me something. Oh, God. I don't know why you sent me that mess. She ain't never cared no way, so that doesn't even matter about that comment on Facebook, Air Force One. You've been living your best life. Comment on Facebook. Turn Air it down. Force One.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you have to say about the commentary? You're going to have to turn that background down, honey.
Yeah, I just did.
That thing you just sent me, I just got that. That means nothing to me because she's been living her life anyway. So what? Who cares?
Yeah.
My thing is this: why even respond? You know what I'm saying?
Why did I?
No. Why should she respond?
Oh, I don't know.
You know, but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
If you're doing you, then you don't have to respond.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but as I say, 5 minutes of fame. Let me tell the people this. But that doesn't shock me none. My thing is, why even post that up there when you know people are going to say stuff and judge you? You understand what I'm saying? And then you haven't participated in anything pertaining to your kids, and now you want to respond about why people are talking about you. But that just shows her maturity level.
Yeah. But didn't I tell you she was going to be next?
About what? Responding? Oh, yeah. Well, she's trash, so that's neither here nor there. What? Give me your commentary about what the information I brought you just now, sweetie.
Matter of fact, I came in late on it, but I went to
Google
and brought them up. That's he's going to have a sweet time. Well, he's going to probably be on segregation, but he's going to have a sweet time in jail.
Well, he's in prison, so he's facing death. Yeah. So he's already probably in isolation.
Yeah. Because guys like that, they're not going to put on, they're not going to put in general population because they will tear them up. They will tear them up.
Mm-hmm.
But high profile cases like that, they're going to put them on segregation.
Okay.
And even so, on segregation, if you get somebody, who's cleaning the tiers or passing out the food or whatever, they can make some way with that too.
Right.
Even with a correctional officer, if a correctional officer finds out and they take one of the inmates up there and say, "Go ahead and have your way for a little bit, and I'm not going to say anything."
Mm-hmm.
They can do that.
Yeah.
Because that's the way it works sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Very sad, you know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. You know. So I'm gonna have to Google this John Wayne Casey dude. I think I had some notes on him before.
Okay.
When you had first mentioned him, but I'm gonna Google him again.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, did you watch? Well, you didn't watch this video that I sent you in your inbox about the Bakersfield killer. It's a KGET news special. I sent it in your inbox.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah. It looks like Bakersfield is taking over where New York.
No,
where New York
I was getting ready to say that. Yeah.
I tell you,
pretty sad.
It's become wild, wild west out there.
Yeah. Just more information to bring to you that people probably never heard of, and that's the thing about places. If you've never heard of what goes on in places, and you're talking about 50 states, so you can't possibly know everything that's going on. I mean, like every day you'll hear of a new rapist, a new killer, serial killer, or they've linked somebody to killing women over here, over there, men. You just don't know.
That's true. That is so true.
You know who you're dealing with, and what type of people are walking around amongst you. It's just very, very sad. Put some arsenic in his food, let him die slow. Nay, that's too easy, Nay. Fran Bean says, Bakersfield has always been rough. Well, it seems like it's got a lot of problems. And just from what I've seen just in the past couple months with all that stuff going on, the people are thick as thieves. The street people, the professional people, one or two anyway, I'll just speak on that. They're all in cahoots together. So, but I don't want to get into that topic. But the point is, it's just grimy. It's very grimy, grimy looking people. Yeah. But this was very interesting information because I was like, wow, they had a killer killing these women. But, he was only charged with killing Miss Merriweather, Black lady. And the sick part about that story is I don't want to say it on live, but they traced his DNA to her fecal matter.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Yeah. So I don't know what the hell was going on that night, day, or whatever. But just when I read that in another article, or maybe it was in the video, I was just like, wait a minute, wait. What did you just say? This is crazy. It's very crazy. Deborah said it's a group effort. Okay. What are you going to say? I'm sorry, sweetie. Air Force One, you going to say something?
Oh, no. I was just listening to you, babe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to hold you guys long. Oh, Nay. Really, Nay? Because, in my right mind, let me tell you, when I first heard it, I didn't even think of that. That didn't even cross my mind. I didn't know if maybe she used a restroom on herself or, you know what I'm saying? I just wasn't thinking. I didn't even give it another thought. But thank you, Nay, for that enlightening description. Jeez. Like they say, geez, Louise. Ugh.
That's my niece.
Wow. I can't. Well, guess what? He ain't the only one. There's a lot of guys that partake in that, women too. So, however you get down is your business. But that's still nonetheless just killing random women, it's just horrible. But before I check out of here, I would like to say, please pray for DMX, the rapper. He is in critical condition. He overdosed last night. And that is the said information pertaining to DMX. I'm very disturbed right now because I am a fan of his music. And they did say he had overdosed a couple of years back. I think it was 2016 or 17. Let me see. I might have to pull that up. Hold on a second, because I did just get that information about him. I'll read it briefly, then I'll check out of here. Thank you all for joining. Now that's police work. Say what? Oh, Curtis said, I hope someone get a broom to him. Oh, y'all are killing me. Jesus. That backdoor something. Yeah, I guess it is. I'm going to bring you all the said information pertaining to DMX, the rapper, and then I'm going to check out of here. Air Force One, anything you'd like to say before I read this information?
No. I'll be waiting for you with my hot chocolate.
No, because you'll be asleep if you drink the hot chocolate. You need to. No, I was going to say get apple cider, but that probably won't work either. You'll probably be knocked out with that too. Okay. I'll see you in a bit, babe.
Okay, babe.
Okay, honey. Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
That was Air Force One. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, baby. That was Air Force One, Maryland. Uncle. That's Uncle. Hip-hop legend DMX overdoses, condition grave. Rapper DMX reportedly overdosed Friday night, and his condition is said to be grave. TMZ reports that troubled rapper OD'd at his home around 11 p.m. and that the overdose led to a heart attack. The 50-year-old was taken to a White Plains, New York hospital, where he remains in critical care unit. According to TMZ's sources, doctors have told those close to him to be prepared for the worst. Fellow music icon Missy Elliott took to Twitter to post prayers for DMX and his family, and Oscar winner Viola Davis also had DMX on her mind, writing, praying for DMX. The rapper, whose 1998 debut album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, shook up the music world, has long battled addiction, including a stint in rehab in 2019 following a year-long prison sentence for tax evasion, one of many run-ins with the law. In 2016, he was found in the parking lot of Yonkers, New York, Ramada Inn with no pulse. Only a dose of Narcan saved his life. DMX has made his mark on popular cultures via 7 albums, hits like Party Up in Here 2000, and numerous film appearances, including in Romeo Must Die 2000 and Cradle to the Grave 2003. He starred in his own reality series, DMX Soul of a Man 2006. Married once, he is the father of 15 children from various relationships. That is said information pertaining to DMX, who has been reported overdosed last night, and it led to a heart attack. He was taken to a White Plains, New York hospital, where he remains in a critical care unit. My prayers are with him and his family and children. I didn't know he had this many kids, but it is also said that he lived in Knoxville or visited Knoxville for a brief time in the northwest side of town. One of the housing developments. He was known to hang there. Many people know this place and met DMX allegedly. I didn't get to meet him when he was briefly here visiting or staying, but it is believed that he frequent this area at one time or another, Knoxville, Tennessee, many moons ago. So my prayers are with Mr. DMX. I pray that God favors you, honey, and brings you through and pulls you through. And when you come through, that you get the help you need, because life is short, and whatever battles you are facing, drugs is definitely not the answer. And I don't want to hear any more bad news pertaining to anyone being hurt or deceased. So I'm praying that God shows DMX favor and spares his life. Amen. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Air Force One. Didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry about that. Thank you all for joining me on this short live pertaining to the serial killer, Bakersfield serial killer that is believed to have killed several women, but he was only charged with the murder of one woman. Make sure I get this right before I check out here so you can have the said information. This is an old story. If you want to find this in the YouTube queue, it's called Bakersfield'S Secret Serial Killer. It is a video brought to the public by KGET News 17. And it is talking about women who were stabbed and brutally murdered between 1996 and 2001. And most of the victims were poor and prostitutes and drug-addicted females. And I will bring you his name. Michael Charles Brown is the suspect who faced charges for the murder of Miss Meriwether and believed to have killed many women in Bakersfield, California during that time. And as I stated, if you need verification for the story, kget.com is the source. And you can go to YouTube and watch the video by KGET News. And it is called Bakersfield's Secret Serial Killer. Thank you all so much. He just passed? What? Oh, my Lord. Fran Bean saying he passed 1 hour ago. Oh, Lord. Okay. Thank you. I will go and make said information, and I'll make a video upload to verify, because, you know, I like to always have a source to verify things. I will verify that said information, and then I will put an upload into YouTube when I log out of here. Thank you all so much for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. I will be going live again, and then I will have a panel discussion pertaining to men. It is going to be a very hot topic for you ladies, and I hope you join me a little bit later and give me your opinion on the said matter. Thank you all for joining me and listening in. God bless all of you, and just pray for our country. We're in turbulent times right now. A lot of very angry people out here exacting crimes amongst civilians. So just stay safe and keep your eyes and ears open. Prayers for the Floyd family and justice for George Floyd. Amen. And prayers for DMX's family, if indeed he has passed. I'm praying this is not true. I'm going to go check. Thank you all so much for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Have a safe and wonderful evening and weekend. God bless all of you. Bye-bye.